happy Friday. Welcome back to our channel. We're back with another 5 weekly favorites. We have one food item to talk about, so I'll quickly get into that. This is the Favorite Day Gourmet, Target's new sweet brand. Well, Favorite Day is their new snack brand. I think it's only sweets, yeah.
But it's like candy and ice cream.
Yeah. So this is the double dark chocolate mint. I think it only comes in this size. What size is this? 1 pint. It comes in this pint size, and I don't usually like chocolate ice cream. I know, come for me. But I don't really love anything too chocolatey. That's just not my preference. I prefer vanilla or peanut butter side of things. But this got really good reviews online, so we decided to pick it up. And it's the perfect balance of chocolatey and minty. To me, it tastes like a mint brownie.
It's my new favorite ice cream.
It's so good. The fudge pieces or whatever is in there, something about that tastes almost like if you've ever had a mint chocolate cake piece.
Yeah.
How there's usually some sort of fudgy mint in the cake.
Yeah. That's what it reminds me of. And then on top of that, it's I don't know, it's so good. It's
delicious and it's really rich, but that's probably good because then you can have a few bites and then be done with it. Cause
yeah.
There's no way you could eat this whole pint.
But we highly recommend it because we were shocked at how good it was.
Yeah.
Okay, and then I'll get into what my other Target find.
So I picked up this sweater 2 weeks ago, but I couldn't talk about it because
it wasn't on the Target website.
Yeah.
It was only in store. And it's A New Day. It's this 4 button cardigan. And I'll link below the exact one I got, but it's the brown and black sort of what would you call it? It's marble, yeah, tortoise shell pattern. And I just really like that. I love brown and black. I wear brown and black together all the time. I know a lot of people don't. It's almost like a golden black.
Yeah, it's kind of
it's like a golden black.
It almost has a bit of olive in it. But anyways, I just love this combo. And I had seen this probably 3-4 weeks ago at Target, but they only had it, they had it in every size the first time we went besides my size, which would be extra small. Target runs pretty large.
Yeah.
So I was oh, I'll just order it online. And then it wasn't online, and I'm when am I ever gonna get this sweater? And then we went back and they only had an extra small. So it was meant to be. So I got it, and I think I'm just gonna wear this probably without anything underneath, just a throw on sort of casual when fall starts, and I'm really excited to wear it. But I think if you live in I guess every place is pretty warm right now.
Now, yeah, for sure.
Going into fall, I think this would be just such a end of summer, early fall, great sweater, and I really love it. So I wanted to mention that. Okay, and then I used a new complexion favorite this week, and I was just really pleasantly surprised by this. Laura Mercier sent us their oil-free tinted moisturizer, natural skin perfector SPF 20 sunscreen. They sent it with the A9 Bang collab that they did, and I don't remember ever trying the oil-free version.
No, I always bought
the original, and then they reformulated it, right? And then it wasn't as good. So we haven't used the tinted moisturizer in years, and I just really had never heard of the oil-free. anyone that I personally watched on YouTube talk about it.
Use it.
Oh, she did?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
way back in the day, she would talk about it.
Well, they sent us 3N1 sand, and it's definitely too deep for me. I want to get the 2N1, and that one actually comes in the mini size, so I might get that just to make sure it's a good shade match. And this also has a chemical sunscreen in it, which I usually stay away from chemical sunscreens, but I always layer my mineral sunscreen underneath this. I would never use this on its own because SPF 20 really isn't that much. But for whatever reason, I just love this. I feel it looks so good on my skin. They say that the oil-free is more a matte finish, but I find that with my glowier base, I've been mixing in, I'll get to this next, but the Verse Glow Drops into my sunscreen. So with that glowy base and this on top, it just looks like a really nice, healthy skin finish on me. It doesn't look too matte, too drying, but it really lasts all day because I think it's that oil-free formula. And so on my more light makeup days, I just love to use this with a really light concealer, and then just nothing on the eyes, just some cream bronzer, cream blush. And I just love, like I said, how long it lasts throughout the day. It provides some coverage, but still gives you just that healthy skin appearance. It's not cakey. It's really, really nice. And I just feel nobody really talks about that.
Yeah, that's true, especially the new, because that's a new formula too, right?
Yeah, I think it's one of the newer ones. And I really love the tube, squeezy tube packaging. It just is a normal 12 twist top cap, and then the orifice size is perfect. Like you can dispense how much you need, and a little goes a long way. I will say that. I really, especially because this color is too dark for me, I use like a very small amount, and then just blend it all over my face with a sponge, or a brush works too, because I don't want to overdo it because it is pretty dark for my skin tone right now. But if I'm self-tanned, it kind of works.
Do you want to talk about that? Then we'll do TV next.
Sure. So next up, so my Monday video would have been the review of this, so I won't harp on it too long, but the Verse Smooth Lighting Glow Drops, I've been really loving these. It does come in 2 shades. This is golden, and then bronze is the deeper
Here, we
shade.
can like swatch them on here.
Well, I'll swatch them in
okay.
the other video, because they get really liquidy,
Yeah,
so I just don't want it to drip on the couch. But they are really beautiful. They just provide like a really like luminescent finish to whatever you put them in. So I prefer to use this in my sunscreen, because my sunscreen does have kind of a white cast. So I feel like the golden shade kind of like cuts through the white cast a little bit and then adds glow to my skin, which I love to use like as a base. But even if you're just not wearing makeup on top of it, it just leaves like a really pretty, like I said, like luminescent, pearlescent glow without being glittery on the skin. So I really love mixing them in with sunscreen. I'm sure you can mix them in with your foundation too, but I find most of the foundations I use are already kind of glowy. Like I don't use any matte foundations per se, but if you did have a matte foundation and wanted some sort of glow, this would be beautiful to mix in. I also have tried this just like dotted on my face as a highlighter. It works beautifully like that. So I love that it's kind of like a multi-purpose product. I really love the packaging.
I love the packaging.
I think the packaging is so cute. I love how small it is. I don't like when something's like overly bulky for no reason.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I feel like this is 1 ounce of product.
Yeah.
So they could have put this in like a tube or in like a bottle with like a very
It has like a little tiny needle nose. Plug.
Yeah, so I feel like you can drop like the perfect amount on. I love how compact it is, easy to travel with. So I've been loving these. This is one of my favorite Verse products, I would say.
Yeah, I like it mixed in. I don't love it like on its own, like tapped on the cheeks.
Yeah, that's on my favorite way is mix in with sunscreen. And then, like I said, I'm sure you can mix it into foundation. That would be beautiful. It does work as a liquid highlighter. I don't love liquid highlighters in general, so I've used it that way, but my preference is to mix it in.
Yeah.
And then it just it's perfect for summer. I'm really glad they like released this during the summer months.
Okay, and then last is our show favorite currently. It is Dr. Death on Peacock, and we loved, did we talk about this previously?
We had to have, it's just been like a year or so.
Yeah, so the podcast by Wondery, Dr. Death, we loved that podcast. We were so into it, and then we found out that they were making a show, and we were so excited because the story is just insane. Like basically it's about this doctor in Texas that Christopher Dunch, he like injured and killed multiple people through his surgeries.
I think I've read that he injured 36 out of his 38 patients. Like basically almost all of his patients became injured. Like were worse off after he did the surgery than they were before.
Yeah, so he's a surgeon.
And then a few of them died, which is extremely
technically
sad.
He's a neurosurgeon,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. And so it's basically like the story of how these other 2 doctors tried to take him down and
For years.
Yeah, for years, and like their persistence, and it just shows like it walks you through all the different patients and their stories, and then the takedown of him eventually, because he is currently in prison.
Yeah.
So it's really, the show is like a dramatization of the podcast.
But the details are pretty accurate.
I think the details are pretty accurate. The podcast was more of like hearing these people's stories. Like a lot of them were on the podcast, and so it was almost like more heartbreaking, like listening to them. The show is more of like a television show, so it like he's like the main star on the show. It's not like in the podcast where everyone was talking about him.
Yeah,
like.
well, I also think the Jerry of it all, like Jerry is his best friend that he basically paralyzed, which is incredibly sad. And Jerry was a big part of the podcast, and he's also a big part of the show, but more so on the point of view is a little bit different on the show versus the podcast.
Yeah, for sure. Because, well, I think it's really because Dr. Death, Christopher Dunch, wasn't on the podcast.
Yeah.
He wasn't a part of the podcast. So it was all the victims and like their stories in the podcast. And then on the show, I think they try to do a good job of showing like, I don't know, you never really figure out like how he came to be or like how this happened, but a lot of it is like showing him and showing his life. So I like that it's like It's like a drama, but
And
with
the
real
cast
life
is
events.
so good. Joshua Jackson does an amazing job.
The acting is so
Yeah, and then
amazing.
Alec Baldwin and Christian Slater play the two doctors that take him down. Perfect pairing, perfectly cast.
Yeah,
Great
this show
job.
was perfectly casted. I don't know who did it because Jamie Doran was originally supposed to play
Oh, really?
Dr. Death.
I don't know if that would be
Yeah,
believable.
he was like actually like signed on and everything, and I don't
Oh.
know what happened, but they recasted
But
him.
don't you think he's like too handsome?
Yeah, they
Yeah.
recasted him really late in the game and brought in Joshua Jackson, who is like a perfect villain.
Yes.
I don't know why he's like so good at being a villain, but he really is. So, and his acting is incredible. Because even sometimes you're like, oh, he's acting like such a like bad actor, but it's like he's acting like that. Like
Yes.
because he's acting like Christopher Dunst.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, he's such a good actor. I was like really blown away.
Yeah, so we've been loving that show. We have 2 episodes left of it. There are 8 episodes total, so we'll probably finish it this weekend. So by the time you're watching this, we'll have finished it. But highly recommend. Maybe you should start with the podcast first. Well, you could do both at the same time.
Yeah. Okay, that is everything in our weekly favorites. We hope you guys had a good week and a great weekend, and we'll see you next week.